everyone, and welcome back to part 8 of the X-Wing Fighter. Today we're going to do a little pre-shading. I think we got pretty much anything we need to get glued onto the wings and the hull and stuff that we can start doing a little bit of pre-shading. Since this is going to be white, you do a little bit of black underneath and on seams and panel lines and stuff like that, in areas like where there's a lot of engine parts or something. You can actually put a little bit of black down underneath your base coat, and if you don't go too heavy with your base coat, it kind of bleeds through a little bit and gives a little bit of a shading look to it. It's really cool, it works really great. So let's head on over to the bench and take a look. Well, welcome back. We went through and did some pre-shading. A little bit of the dust rubs off, but that's alright. It's like a little bit of overspray dust that didn't cling on there. But I went through and did some pre-shading in areas that I thought would look good for some pre-shading. I still want to do these in gray, but I think I'm just gonna, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna hand paint those because I just don't feel like getting an airbrush gun really all that dirty. Just for these 4 little openings. But yeah, everything looks good. So that's where those are at. Went and did some pre-shading on here. Just mainly, this is the main thing I wanted to hit. But I tried some areas here too. Same on here. Got that puttied. Put some. I tried the red spot putty because I wanted it to dry quick. The other I would have had to wait till tomorrow to do anything with. And it actually worked good. If I can put some on the inside and the outside, it actually stays stable. You know, I mean, I wouldn't press real hard; it'll probably pop through because it doesn't melt as, you know, it doesn't melt in like the tester is white. It's a lot more stable as far as strength, you know. Where the spot putty is just made to fill little holes and pits in normal putty or Bondo in a sense. So, but it worked good. It went in there, and it's, you know, the nice thing I like about the spot putty is it sands really good. So we got that all closed in because they gave you 2 notches for you to stand. I'm going to use this front one. And then the stand goes in, it pops, and it'll leave a little bit of a gap, and that's where I can sneak the wires up through, if I still decide to do that. I got the landing gear bay doors closed, because you could have them glued up and open if you had the landing gear on. And same thing with the base here. You can have them open. I wasn't sure if you can have them open or not, but I was looking at the instructions and you can glue them open. So that might have been why that had all that area to fix, because they gave you that flat edge to kind of glue that stuff down to. But yeah, I like that. That works good. I know I want to clean some of that loose stuff off, so I'll probably go through and just rub. What else? I should probably hit them with a flat clear before I bring them over. I got this piece done as well. This has got a lot of mechanics, so I just hit the whole thing. That's the rear end of the X-Wing. That'll go there. I think she goes on the inside like that. So that's all done, pre-shaded, and I glued in the little R2 unit and pre-shaded him black. And then we'll hit him with a white and do the silver and then hit all the blues. Most of his body is under, so I'm not overly worried about it. I did sand the seams. He had a really nasty seam on his head, but you only can do so much or you lose the detail, what little detail there is. Like I said, most of him should be, he should only be popping up just a bit like that. So it's mainly going to be his head and like just from his shoulders up. That's all it's going to be seen. But I figure I get him pre-shaded. It'll make it a little easier to, you know, that's why I'm not worried about the details. I'll still, you know, hit some blue there and in the areas that I need to. I painted, I'm going to just bring the whole thing over. I painted these black, but these got some, you know, now I want to hit it with a clear. But these got a lot more work to do to them. Now that those are black, I can tape. What I want to do, I'm going to tape this back half, and then I'm just going to do the outer edge towards this side. I'm going to do that a stripe of dark gray, just like I'm going to do on these and that and there. Once these go on, we're going to do a dark gray. It's going to be like a navy gray or a German gray. So but probably what we'll do first is we'll just spray it with white. We just got to spray the very bottom with white on all of them. Then we'll mask it. We'll mask the front half of the intakes. Or actually, we'll mask the back half. Sorry. And then I'll just probably just with a hand brush the gray on the very outside, because I don't want it on the front side of these. I want to leave that black. I believe that's how pretty much it is. I could probably do this one. Or maybe we could do that gray. But I think mainly, I'll have to look at the one downstairs, the big D'Agostini. But mainly I want to do that stripe around gray. And I think that's all I'm going to do. I think I'm going to leave the front black. Because otherwise, if I do this one, then I have to do the bar going across. I could probably just do that one half. So I think I'm just going to circle the whole outer edge and leave the black on the face. It'll be white on the other side, and then one of them gets a yellow band just on the top hoop, and it's actually this engine here. We'll get a yellow band, and this gets part of that yellow there too. And in this part of the wing, I think it gets a gray here. So yeah, so you know, I figure while I was spraying the black, I would do that. I have to hit that with a clear so that stays down, and then we'll take this dark gray. I'm just gonna quickly hand it, because it's just to give it a different thing going on there. Maybe when I go and do airbrushing, like weathering and hits, I can hit a little bit in there too. I think it's just gonna be easier just to hit it with a brush, because the acrylic will lay flat and it's getting white all over it anyway, so it's not really going to be that crucial. So we can put both of these like that, and I want to get at least this half, you know, these into that and into that and prepped, so they're together. This is the pin that goes through that holds all this together. So I put that together quick, because I think all the parts are together except for what goes on right here. But I want to get these on first, the intakes on first, because they nudge right up on it. So I want to get those on first. So I'll just paint them white and then glue them on later at the end. So yeah, do we start putting this together and then pre-shade it? That's why I don't care. I'm not gonna like seal this base, this pre-shading stuff, if it wears off from my hand. See how that's what I was talking about, how like acrylics, and plus this hasn't been scuffed. so it'll really want to come off. The overspray dust doesn't really bite on. Actually, none of it really does because it's not heavy. It's very light. So, but any of the little scratches and screws might show, you know, like that might show up in the painting. I don't know. I'm going to use my acrylic white, so it's going to take a lot to cover. So I'll be able to really adjust how much of this pre-shading I want to see. Sometimes it gets hidden and it doesn't even work. But I think it's really going to work in these engines areas down here where I really hit it. And like I said, it doesn't matter if I rub that off. The whole purpose is to get into the cracks. But then I want these just a shade off, you know, just kind of sickly. And like I said, I can always hit them with a little bit of a hit them with a little bit of grays later once the white is on there, just to give some shading. And but the pre-shade this will work good. I should almost mix a gray, because that's pretty dark, but we're going to give it a try. But this is just an experiment. The other nice thing is I can make sure I get, and I'm even going to slop on the outer edge a little bit too, just to give it some discolor around the edge of the opening. But yeah, you gotta really work it in there. Alright. I'm trying to do these from like a outside perspective, like, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let that one dry before we try to get another coat on it. Otherwise, we're just smearing it around. But I figured anything in here would be nice. I saw that Lou from Aztec Dummy, he hit his inside here, and he even did some of it afterwards, or maybe he did it he actually painted it gray in there. It doesn't call for it. I don't see the studio scale models that way. They probably have a shading in here like this, with shading in them, but not actually painted. And I forgot to hit these with some black, so I'm just gonna hit them with some gray, and it'd probably be better if I do something like that. And the irregularly, you know, how weird and misshapen it is, the way you're painting on is actually going to help. Just to give these joints some type of character. You know, like something would happen or ooze or do something out of those joints, I would think. and I didn't want it extreme on these, so that's why I'm using a gray. I used the spot surface primer earlier. That's what you see on them to fill that gap. Since this big tube is 2/2, you know, it never fit tight. So, yeah, that actual irregularity, I can't speak today, but that weirdness in the shape, I always forget to look at the camera when I'm holding things up because it's always too high, because everything's down here. It's like I need a camera at pants or a second camera or something. But so we'll let those dry because I like how that is all weird shaped. You know, it's not a perfect spiral. And that's another thing. 2 of those have to get the spirals. They don't give you decals, so we're going to have to do that. But, how do I want to do that? I think I want to, before I hit them white, once this dries, I'm going to hit them with a blue. I think it's up on this part of them. Isn't it? Or does it go all the way across? I think it's on the thicker part. I have to look. I forget. I think it's on the thicker part, the stripes. And I forget exactly which one. If I'm looking at it this way, I think it's the lower and the upper. I'm not sure, though. I could be entirely wrong. But, yeah, 2 of these get a spiral, and one's a lower... Whatever's the lower one, like say this is the lower one here, because the laser cannon's on the bottom wing. It's going to be the upper one on that. So whatever wing half you're working on, it'll be that wing. Like this one, we get the regulars, and say if it's the lower one on the right and the upper one on the left, then it would be this one. Because when it spins, it goes like that when they open. But yeah, it has those blue stripes. So I actually rather paint the blue and then put the and then mask the spiral and then hit the thing, hit it white. I think that'll be the best way to do that. And you know, I'll use one of my small pinstriping tapes. That should give me a perfect. I think I have a size smaller because I got new ones. I'll put paint on my new. Trying to at least once try to keep something nice for a little longer. And this one I'd like to keep nice, and then I got my garbage ones that I can do. Yeah, so it's going to be at least this one, but I have a thinner one too. It could go down to one of these guys. I'll have to look at the scale of it. Yeah, I'm thinking it's more that one. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I got a bunch of these for a real good price. I got 2 of the, I think those are a 3mm. Oh, that's a 5, maybe even a 6. Yeah, that's a 6mm. So I got 2 6s. Everything's mixed up in here. These 2 are the same and those 2 are the same. I got 2 6s. I could probably put some of these away. I don't need them all out at one time. I think this is the 3. Yep. 2 6s, 2 3s, and these should be a 1mm. 2 2mm. A 6, a 3, and 2 2s. This one here is a 3. And this should be a 6 then. Yeah. The existing ones I already have. So I got the 2, you know, but I know I opened, no, I didn't open. But what I should do, actually both of these can go away because I have a 6 out. Those are the 3s. Yep, so both of those could go away. And one of these can go away. I really only need those out. Not all those extra. Put all this in a different compartment, and it keeps them safe and dust free. And I don't have all this stuff up there. But that's, yeah, so I'll use the 2mm, or I think the 3. I think the 3 was working the best. I'll use the 3mm to fill that in. There we go. It's looking much darker now. We get a second coat on here. Make sure we get it in the cracks, because that's where it's for something like this. And we'll just try to do these little these up like that, just to soften the edges. Fill this one in. I should actually hit the edges first. Okay. It's simple, this brush the upper. I can get some paint out of that lid. It started to soften the bottom paint up already. Like I said, right now it looks crazy, but that's just the way pre-shading will look. Because we got to remember, it eventually is all going to have a white coat put over top of it. So it'll all be hidden. I think that'll work. That's enough. I might want to get a little bit here because it started lifting the paint up. I think that's enough. Doesn't need to be pretty. Once that dries, it'll be nice and level for the white to go over top. Oh, before we completely clean this brush, I had another idea. I had another brilliant idea. Might as well hit these edges here. said, I don't want them extreme, so to do black probably wouldn't be the most prudent way to do that. I just want a shading. And this way you get, what I'm hoping for is it gives me different shades of, you know, shadowing or pre-shading, you know. And this being a craft acrylic, so it'll level itself out. So you won't see any of the brush marks or lumps or... Because as you can see, like already those are leveled. And the way you can tell that I did anything is because the color's there. But I always, you know, think that something should be done there. And you know what? Probably wouldn't hurt to hit the tips. The tips are going to get hit in weathering anyway. You know, when it's finally painted. Trying to at least keep a consistency on how far down I went down these tips. But I don't mind if there's like a whoop and a knot, and I'll give a smoky. Oh, yeah. You might have noticed I forgot to hit this area on this one. And one thing I'm hoping that this paint does at the very least is it softened, or I had to do a lot of filing on that area where I'm painting right now. I had to do a lot of filing to get those steps. There's steps. It kind of comes tube, and then there's a step, and then another step for this big ring. And I definitely want to hit some on the inside of those half moon things. Not in the very outer edges, because those would look like they would get touched and cleaned up. The benefit of I'm going to use the craft acrylic white is, like I said, it's not going to cover extreme. It's going to take a couple coats, because once you thin those down, they don't cover as well. That's the only bad thing about it, but the plus is you can really do the shadings like this good. Especially if I were to use I used my craft acrylic black. If I would have used like a regular black and just sprayed, you know, like the Tamiya black or something that was real dark, it would have been really hard to, you know, it's going to be difficult for the white to cover that. It's going to take a couple coats, and that way I can really look at it as it dries through each coat and say, nah, I need a little more here and a little more here. So hopefully that'll work. I've done pre-shading before, but using a craft acrylic white, which I will be using Anita's, you know, for $2.99 for this big 8 fluid ounces or 236 milliliters. You can't beat it. For use on wood, artist canvas, plaster, clay, metal, fabric, and more. Permanent soap and water cleanup while wet. And it's a Rust-Oleum product. Well, it's something that's really helped save my budget. You know, and here's the black I used. But yeah, I got the big bottles of black and white because A, they're only $2.99, and B, it's kind of the colors you use a lot to darken and lighten, or just use as an. And I got big colors, like I got the gray from my base gray. I think this is what I'm going to use for the Enterprise, and then I got to add the green to it. But I think this is what I'm going to use for the base color. I'll have to look at their color chart. I just kind of grabbed what was there, but yeah, that'll work. And if I have to lighten it, I have a little white or whatever I got to do. So, and then I got a bunch of greens in the big jugs because I had a lot of Klingon ships, and you know, Boba Fett's has green in it. So I got a Kelly green, a leaf green, which is a real light green, and I got a shamrock green, and that's just in these big ones. You know, I still have another Katinga build too. So those greens are gonna come. Those greens are gonna last me for a while because they're 236 milliliters. That's a lot of paint, especially when you know you get more. And then I have a whole bunch of greens and stuff in the smaller ones. Yeah, but I still got 1, 2. That's got to have some green, but two that are pretty much 3 that are pretty much full green. You know, with different shades of green on them. But there we go. It's looking messy and crazy and messy. But I think that's gonna do what I need it to do. But alright, we'll let them sit and dry. Like I said in here, I'm going to do that black and then speckle it with the German gray. And then I'll paint these areas in black. Is that something I want to do tonight, or I want to call it a night? I think I might call it a night. Yeah, what's it getting like right now? Yeah, it's definitely in. We did a good day today. Got some things posted or scheduled to be posted. Yeah, of course you're going to grab on there. Put you guys here where you don't touch it. Painted areas don't touch anything. So obviously that one touched something. But, oh well, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's shading, not. So, next time is going to be all spraying white. Those together. Try to organize here a little bit so when I come in tomorrow we're good. Set those there so they're good to dry. Set those there. They're okay to dry. But, yeah, I appreciate you all watching. Like I said, we'll come back and we'll give this thing a whole white color. Yeah, I think I'm going to want to do... Oh, I want to get the white over in between here, but I think I'm going to get this canopy down and mask and the windows up in. I think that's what I decided to do. I think I'm going to get this canopy glued on and the window in here and then mask all that, and we're just going to go right over top. I think that's what we decided to do. Because this is not going to open, so there's no real reason. I don't need it. And then that'll give me the ability to spray this whole thing white together. Okay, so I think we're then going to put this together. We can seam it, touch up anything we need to, and then plaster with some white. And yeah, I think the striping on this is a dark green. It could be a blue, but I'll have to look. Like I said, I have to look at the reference notes. But until next time, see you soon.